Born into a clerical family, Ali Khamenei studied at the religious seminary in Qom under the most prominent Shia scholars of the day, including Ruhollah Khomeini, who would later be the leader of the Iranian Revolution. Influenced by Khomeini's revolutionary ideas, Khamenei actively participated in anti-monarchy protests starting from 1963. He became a leading figure in establishing a new Iran after the monarchy was deposed in 1979. When the Iran-Iraq War broke out in 1980, the young Islamic Republic was struggling to establish itself, both domestically and internationally. In 1981, Khamenei, a fiery orator in support of Khomeini, won the presidency. Throughout the 8-year war with Iraq, he frequently visited the front lines, earning the loyalty of the Revolutionary Guards. Iran was internationally isolated and economically devastated when Ayatollah Khomeini died in 1989. Hashemi Rafsanjani, one of the Islamic Republic's founding fathers, urged the Assembly of Experts to appoint Khamenei as the new supreme leader.
I told Mr. Hashemi Rafsanjani that I would not accept this. I believe I do not deserve this position. Perhaps you and I know this. This would be symbolic leadership, not real leadership.
But his leadership has been anything but symbolic. In the early 1990s, Khamenei focused on reviving Iran's economy. Iran began to reclaim a broader regional role after American military intervention in Iraq in 1991 that significantly weakened Iran's arch-enemy, Iraq's President Saddam Hussein. In 2003, the United States invaded Iraq again and deposed Saddam Hussein, giving Iran the opportunity to establish allied groups in Iraq. When the Arab Spring erupted in 2010, Iran supported Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's military suppression of the opposition, and its influence expanded in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon and Yemen, which Iran refers to as the axis of resistance. At home, Khamenei favoured conservative presidents throughout his tenure, but he frequently found himself at odds with presidents in a power struggle. Khamenei's leadership faced its strongest challenge during the 2009 presidential election, when many took to the streets for months claiming the election was rigged. The country faced socio-political tension and economic devastation as Western sanctions devastated its economy. Barack Obama's presidency raised hopes for improved ties. In 2015, Khamenei authorized then-President Hassan Rouhani to sign a nuclear deal with world powers, most notably the United States, under which Iran agreed to reduce its uranium enrichment in exchange for the lifting of Western sanctions. But the US withdrew from the agreement in 2018 under President Trump. Khamenei then directed officials to accelerate Iran's missile and nuclear programs. In 2020, the United States assassinated Qasem Soleimani, a staunch Khamenei supporter and commander of Iran's Quds forces, further deteriorating Iran's relations with the West. Amidst the economic crisis, discontent continued in Iran. In 2022, nationwide protests against Mahsa Amini's death in police custody after she was accused of violating the mandatory hijab laws were one of Khamenei's biggest challenges. After the Hamas-led attack on October 7, 2023, Israel targeted Iranian officials, including its embassy in Damascus, in April 2024. Iran responded by launching hundreds of drones into Israeli territory. In the following months, Israel assassinated Hamas's political bureau chief, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran and killed Hassan Nasrallah, the Secretary General of Hezbollah and Iran's most important ally in the region. Iran retaliated by firing nearly 200 ballistic missiles at Israel. A ceasefire was implemented after 12 days. Khamenei called for regional cooperation to stop Israel.
The policies adopted by our enemy are to sow the seeds of division and sedition, to drive a wedge among all the Muslims. They are the enemies of the Palestinians, Lebanese, Egyptians, Yemenis, Syrians and Iraqis.
Tensions flared up again after protests broke out in Iran in December 2025, first against the plummeting currency, then anti-government protests spread across the country. President Trump said he would attack Iran if it executed hundreds of protesters. Washington began a rapid and large-scale military build-up in the region, and Ayatollah Khamenei warned that any military conflict would not be contained within Iran's borders.
To anyone who seeks to attack, the Iranian nation will deliver a strong blow. Americans should also know that if they start a war this time, it will be a regional war.
Weeks of diplomatic effort to de-escalate followed, with Oman mediating 3 rounds of indirect talks between the US and Iran. Iran had proposed a deal authorized by Khamenei, but on the eve of further talks, Israel and the US attacked Iran. With the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei, Iran now stands at a historic crossroads, facing a future without the man who had guided the nation through turbulent times for decades.